Yeah, I just want to give some impromptu tax advice. Not that you should take this as gospel for sure, but you know, if you're a small business, for one. I think one thing a lot of people do that are small business that's a major mistake is they don't set themselves up as a subchapter S LLC. Would probably be the best incorporated as an LLC subchapter S. Because if you're not set up as a subchapter S, everything you do, say you're running a business trimming trees and doing lawns or something like that, everything you do is going to be reported on your Section C of your personal income, and that's going to be subjected to a straight 15% tax right off the top. In other words, it doesn't matter if you buy the tax bracket and all that type of stuff. You're getting a 15% no matter what you earn on that, on your business income. You're paying that 15%. So, like if you're a subchapter S, you can hold the money in there. And first off, you're not subjected to the 15% self-employment tax, and there's other things too where you can actually have some like legal protection against it. See, this is another thing that they do, and this it actually is well worth it for any business that's even a small business. I mean, you could be trimming trees and mowing lawns or fixing cars or whatever the hell you're doing, right? For instance, what you could do a lot of times is subchapter S. They have better legal protection if they're registered in the state of Nevada. The managing members have better legal protection. And that is frequently why a lot of subchapter S corporations, small business owners, are actually registered in the state of Nevada. Now, the big 500 companies, they will register themselves in the state of Delaware usually because it protects the corporation itself from legal liability. But being registered in the state of Nevada, usually a subchapter S will do that because it protects the managing members, the president or whatever, the owner of the subchapter S from better legal protection. Now, I don't want to give this advice as gospel advice because it's a overview, okay? Because there could be a little more intricate details involved in that. But if you register in the state of Nevada, say you're subchapter S, and say you're doing business in another state, you still have to register your business in the state you're doing business in. So you'll have use a registered agent over in the state of Nevada to register your subchapter S to give you a little more legal protection against any kind of problems that may arise. And you'll have to pay a registration fee on top of the registered agent fee on top of the registration fee for registering the corporation. You'll actually have to pay a registered agent. It's not that much more money. It's a little fee. It's not much. But it's a little fee on top of the state fee that you're using a registered agent so you can register your corporation, your subchapter S in the state of Nevada. Now, you'll have to register in any state you do business in too. And what you register yourself as is a foreign corporation because the corporation is actually registered in a state outside of Nevada, and you might be doing a business in any other state. They call that registration of a foreign. You're registering a foreign corporation of the state you're actually doing business in. Yeah, they call it foreign. It's like if you're actually dealing with a foreign country, and you're registering a business that's actually registered in a foreign country, and say it's in a state inside the United States, they'll call that an alien corporation. They'll call that registering an alien corporation. But you do have some legal protection this way. But the problem is there's some caveats of what you can do with a subchapter S, because you can't have one of the members be a corporation itself. You can't have a foreign partner. You can't have like a partner who's like not a citizen of the United States as your partner. That's another thing. You can't have a corporation that's one of the members of the subchapter S. Those are problems. But many people who do not use the subchapter S, you know, when they're setting this up. Many people do not do this. They make a serious mistake because they pay a lot more taxes under Schedule C. And I don't know why they do this like this, where they just can't make all the tax rate the same. They should. It should be that way. I mean, it would save a lot of garbage and paper, but that's just how it is, right? But you know, it's been this way for decades. I don't know, way back. So, and since they got computers now, there's all kinds of fancy ways to depreciate assets and everything. Another thing people don't do that are in business, that are small business, they do not actually save all their receipts as good as they should be, and all their mileage and all this type of stuff, because they don't record a lot of stuff because it seems like they're too busy to be doing this. Oh, that's just some little chump change. But when you add up all that little chump change, it adds up so fast, it surprises the hell out of me every time. Every time I add up a string of numbers and I'm thinking, oh, it's just all these little numbers, it comes out to a lot of money. And a lot of those could be bona fide deductions. But a lot of times people are too busy to bother with that stuff, and they're dropping, it's like they're putting money in their pocket and they got a hole in their pocket and it's falling out the other side. A lot of people do this, especially people that don't like doing that type of stuff, where they keep a track of receipts. You know, they're kind of like, you know, they trim the trees, they do the lawns, they do the car work. They don't like doing that type of stuff, so they tend not to concentrate down on that as much as they should. And they actually drop a lot of money that way. They do. But the biggest problem is a lot of people are not, they don't go subchapter S. Now, another problem is you could be doing business as such and such LLC or whatever it is. A lot of times people will give you a check or something like that, or for whatever services you provided. If they put it in your name, well, that could be a problem. But the thing is, sometimes they'll issue a 1099 in your name versus the LLC. In that case, you're actually going to have to assign the money over to the LLC, and you'll have to, you know, notify the IRS that, you know, that 1099 actually belongs to the LLC. It doesn't belong to the personal. It doesn't belong on the Schedule C. Now, a lot of times people, I don't know, you know, the other thing is, too, I can tell you another reason a lot of people don't use the subchapter S is because I don't think there's any software you can buy online. Like, I know, like, they sell software online that says, yeah, if you're on your own business, you can use this online software. We can send you a CD, and it's got all the stuff, and you just follow all the prompts. And, well, I never seen anything online where they sell, like, right off, I'll mention a name like TurboTax or something, where they deal with corporations, or they deal with subchapter S corporations or LLCs. They deal with sole proprietor Schedule C stuff. I never seen where they have the other software to deal with, you know, everything else, or trusts or whatever. I never seen that. It's like, that's where you wind up going to the professional accountant to do this type of stuff, you know, because it seems like I have not seen anything like that available. It may be available. I never really looked super hard for it, but I did look around. I said, I wonder if they even have this stuff online. I didn't see it. You know, they'll tell you, but maybe that's part of the game, because you're paying a lot more taxes as when you do the Schedule C as a sole proprietor versus if you were set up as a subchapter S. Big difference. 15% right off the bat, right there. And everything you get, 15% right there. Boom. When you're a sole proprietor. I don't even know why anybody's a sole. Well, first the thing is you have to set it up with the IRS and get approved that you're subchapter S and all this other stuff too. That's another thing. You know, you got to go through all the steps. It's not like you snap your fingers. You got to actually, you know, set the corporation up and get permission that it's going to be a subchapter S and all this type of stuff from the IRS, and once they deem it's okay, then you're cool. And I guess a lot of people that are in small business don't want to bother doing this, and I know a lot of people in small business don't want to bother with registering the corporation in the state of Nevada. Now, I'm not totally clear on how much legal protection that gives you as the managing member or the owner, but I know it does offer extra legal protection. And that is why that's very, very popular with subchapter S, LLCs, and things like that to register in the state of Nevada. It's just that you got to register over there, and you got to pay a registered agent fee. I don't know, it's like $50 for that or something per year for the extra. And then you have to register in any state on top of that you do business in. So, but actually, it's well worthwhile to do that. It is a lot of times, but a lot of people just don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. So, just want to put this out as very general information because I don't want to get into specific information because I don't know. It's but I just think the general information is probably not well known by most people. And, for the most part, pretty much anybody could be a subchapter S as long as you get it cleared with the IRS first. There's a form you have to send into them. You have to, register with the state. And you have to be, like the two main things I know where you can't be a subchapter S is if you have one of the members as a corporation or a foreign partner or foreigner. They got to be people from the United. But usually you don't run into that problem. Usually the corporation problem is the other one. But it seems that the people that are working the hardest for the least amount of money, that are like saying doing work on cars, or they're doing I don't know, they're doing work on trimming trees or something like that, or they're doing roofing. They're the ones that tend not to do this stuff, and they get less money for a lot of hard manual skilled labor, and on top of that, they pay a lot more taxes. Now, what inspired me to do this right now is because I was reading about Microsoft, keeping loads of money overseas and not having to pay taxes, and they weren't the biggest ones out there doing it. Actually, Apple was the biggest one. So that kind of inspired me to just put this video out about, now, you're not going to be able to put money overseas and do the double Irish or some of the fancy garbage those guys do, but not having your income on a Schedule C and being subjected to that self-employment tax will help you out a lot. I mean, it's $1,500 every $10,000 you make, right? That you're getting taxed more. So I mean, right? So I mean, $30,000, right? So everybody's making that, right? You even add $30,000 worth of income, you're paying $4,500 more in tax because you got that self-employment tax. Whereas if you registered, went through the steps of having the subchapter S, and of course the fees for registering the company in, say you did Nevada in a registered agent, and you did the state where you're actually doing business in, all those fees are deductible as professional fees. Because they're all deductible, or registration fees. They're all deductible, so it's not even as high a fee as you think. But a lot of people aren't doing that, and it's not getting into anything fancy. It's very simple and straightforward. So I don't know if I'm reaching a number of people on this, but really what inspired me to do this was because I'm like, man, I know like Warren Buffett, man. This guy he pays like hardly nothing for taxes, man. He's like I said, he's one in the committee of the 300, right? He's on the committee of the 300. What do those guys do? And the major media praises them like we couldn't do without them. I'm saying, yeah, right. What we really can't do without is the people that actually make stuff. The ones that actually you know, fix the houses, fix the cars, and all that type of stuff. Do the electric work and do the body work and mechanic work on cars, and, you know, do the framing in the house. Those are the people you can't do without. You do without Warren Buffett, man. He's my hero. So, but they don't pay taxes much, not at all. Microsoft, Apple, get the money overseas. And, you know, no matter what law they come up with, they always find a way around it. They always do. Because actually, to tell you the truth, if you go back to I'm going long on this, but I didn't expect to go long on this, but if you go back to the 1800s when they had the Commerce Act that was to regulate the railroads, you know, it was kind of sold to the public as, oh yeah, this is going to cut down on the big business with the railroads and all this stuff. It's really going to regulate them and keep them in check and make sure the government oversight is there. Well, you know what it was? It was actually the act itself, the Commerce Act, was actually fostered by the big railroads, which was the biggest industry we had in the United States back in the late 1800s. It wasn't really oil, it was the big railroads. They actually pushed that act to actually force out any competition, upstart competition, that would get in their way, because they would have to comply with all these laws. Now, does that not sound familiar? What do you think is killing all the production in the United States? It's like all these new upstart companies got to comply with all these different laws, right? And actually, it's a fact, since the economic crash of 2008, it's the first time in history I guess since the Great Depression maybe, that there's more businesses going out of business than going into business, even during this whole supposed recovery since 2008. More businesses going out of business than going into business. That's really what's going on. And a lot of it is because of excessive regulation. And who really wants the excessive regulation? You know, the big companies might bitch about it, but that's a scam. They want it because they're the only ones that can afford to comply with it. You know, it's no big deal to hire some people that take care of SARS or whatever the hell it is. You know, they got no problem with that. Or the health care or whatever, the personnel requirements or whatever. They just have a department that does it. You know, when they allocate that in their overhead, yeah, it takes a little money away. But when you have, you know, a couple individuals trying to deal with all that garbage, plus do their business, forget about it. Forget about it. So it's like overwhelming. So that's what kills small business too. Regulation. And big business is behind regulation because it stifles competition to them. Same principle as what happened with the railroads and the Commerce Act. But you should be aware about the subchapter S, because this way you're not going to be subjected to the 15% self-employment tax, which is a very, very important consideration. Like I said, you know, 15%, I mean, if it's, you know, if it's $100,000 you're getting on your business, it's $15,000 you're paying that much more. And you know what? A lot of people are just doing that. I don't know why. I don't know why. They just figure it's a hassle, and I'm saying, whoa, it's not that much of a hassle. Anyway, figured I'd put this out. Maybe it's a moot point, but you know, the people that don't want to bother, they ain't gonna bother. You're gonna pay more taxes. What can I say? I mean, you know. Anyway, over now.